Welcome to Reflect on This. Hello, I am Johnny Henshaw. Many years ago, I discovered that I could use my passion for research and analysis to also discover important truths from God's Word and then apply them to my life in practical and intentional ways. Remember, it's not about religion or rules, but about relationship with Jesus. So if you want to learn more about living life with God-given purpose and meaning, keep listening. So let's get started. Please join me today as we reflect on this. In episode 33 of Season 2 of this podcast, I shared the insights I had gleaned from my meditation on James chapter 1. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. James 1:2 NLT. Here is a summary of those insights and applications. The Greek word translated as joy does not mean a jump up and down sort of exuberant joy, but rather a calm delight, a peace that comes from knowing that God is with me in the midst of the challenge. This verse is referring to all our troubles, both big and small. This verse is referring to a generous portion of calm delight, great joy in CSB and NLT translations. This joy is not merely some joy mixed with much grief. We are to consider it all joy, ESV, NASB, and KJV translations. The Greek word translated as consider includes the nuance of considering it an opportunity to make a choice. The NLT translation, which I shared a moment ago, highlights this nuance of the original language. This is why I sometimes experience joy in the midst of trouble, and sometimes I don't, because of how I choose to respond. Will I choose a biblical response based on my faith in God's goodness and care for me? Or will I choose an unbiblical response based on my lack of faith in God's goodness and care for me? In the months since that episode, I have been meditating further upon this verse and the verses that follow. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. If you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and He will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking. James 1, verses 2 through 5, NLT. I have realized that this passage addresses several misconceptions that we can have about the trials and challenges of life. Misconception number 1. James doesn't say if troubles come your way, but when it does. He assumes that we will have troubles and that it is possible to profit from them. James tells us to turn our hardships into times of learning. In other words, they are opportunities for growth. John Eldredge, in his devotional book entitled Restoration Year, elaborates on this point of the inevitability of troubles by stating that God is so much more often presented in the Bible as the deliverer rather than the preventer. Arise, Lord, deliver me, my God. Psalm 3:7, NIV. Deliver me from the sword. Psalm 22:20, NIV. For He will deliver the needy who cry out. Psalm 72:12, NIV. On Him we have set our hope that He will continue to deliver us. 2 Corinthians 1:10, NIV. Misconception number 2. Regarding the testing of your faith, we must remember that God is not the author or source of suffering. Suffering is the result of living in a fallen world. Rather, this passage suggests that God works in every situation for our good. He wastes nothing. And we know that God causes all things to work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to His purpose. Romans 8:28. Misconception number 3. True wisdom is not just acquired information, but practical insight with spiritual implications. Trials prompt us to cry out to God for wisdom. True wisdom from God is practical, gives us the ability to translate ideas into actions. Divine goes beyond common sense, and Christ-like, because asking for wisdom is ultimately asking to be like Christ. Wisdom is seeing life from God's point of view. To summarize, trials are inevitable, not if, but when trials come. God is not the source of suffering. Our fallen world is the source of suffering. Trials prompt us to cry out to God, not for information, but for true wisdom, divine, Christ-like insights, which give us the ability to see life from God's perspective. Today, I encourage you to reflect on this. It is my hope that this episode will encourage and inspire you to not just know the Scriptures, but to apply the Scriptures to your daily life. And don't forget to check out the show notes for resources mentioned in today's episode.